Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start this. Start the recording. Alright, so welcome if you're tuning in. My name is Rakalaka Lili, and I am doing this thing where people gave me replays asking for help, and I'm going to commentate and try to help them. I'm going to talk about things they're doing well, things they could work on, and so on. So the first replay I'm going to start with today, I believe the name is HydroponicMoth, playing Kassadin, I'm assuming in the mid lane. He said this is one of his first ranked games, so it's it's probably around 1200, 1100 to 1300 elo, somewhere in there. And so we'll see what happens. So first, let's talk about this matchup here. So we have HydroponicMoth playing Kassadin mid against an Anivia. As if we look at summoner spells, we have Kassadin going Exhaust Ghost, which I don't really think that's the way to go on Kassadin. Typically when you're playing like a burst mage, you're going to want Ignite over Exhaust. You're not really going to be sitting there duking it out with someone where Exhaust is going to be really helpful, but that Ignite's going to add to your burst combo, especially like a burst assassin like Kassadin. It's going to help you take down priority targets in team fights. Ghost is okay on Kassadin. I really like taking Flash on Kassadin. Having just the utility of your Rift Walk on a wall cooldown combined with Flash lets you do some pretty ridiculous things and makes you almost impossible to kill. But Ghost is also pretty good because you do have that low cooldown Flash with Rift Walk, so Ghost lets you move faster, harder for you to focus. Alright, so let's see what you start with. Boots and 3 potions would be a pretty good start against an Anivia, just to make sure that... Okay, good, you did start boots 3 potions, so that will make sure... oh man, got some weird lag in the replay. Gonna go ahead and lock the camera on you, so I don't have to worry about that. Whoa, this replay is doing some funky things right now. But anyway, so boots 3 pots is the way to go. Oh, what's going on over here? So there's some level 1 action? Okay. So Anivia face checked this bush and apparently died. So, wow. Then Olaf face checks that bush and has to flash out and lives. And well, okay, weird. Okay, so that's something you'll see in lower elo games. There, Anivia just walks into this bush without her team completely and face checks 3 of them where she insta dies. So HydroponicMoth. What that means is that you're going to have an advantage over this Anivia because she's dead and she's missing creeps. We'll see how many creeps he actually misses. So, good job CSing here. You haven't missed one yet. Oh, you missed that one. Spoke too soon, but that's okay. So you should not be afraid to get that CS right now. As Kassadin, your early game's your weakest part, so you need to take every advantage you can possibly get. Wait, Anivia's bottom? Okay, I'm so confused. That's okay. So I guess you're leaning against a Riven, which is probably going to be a rough lane for Kassadin. If the Riven's aggressive, you really shouldn't get close to many creeps. But there's a couple CS that you're missing for really no reason. And so with Kassadin, like these range minions that you're missing, don't be afraid to use your Q to last hit those. It's definitely worth it. I mean, gold is everything in this game, so don't be afraid to get some gold. And don't be afraid, like if you have high mana, to go ahead and use some spells on Riven. I like waiting until level 3, so you have second rank Null Sphere to really harass. It makes it a lot more effective. So you're playing very afraid of the Riven, which you probably have to do. Riven can do a lot of damage early game, but just try to get all that CS that you can. I'm not going to worry too much in these games about the other lanes, because it's not really the point. I'm really going to focus on the person who submitted the replay, because they want the help. Yeah, so that's what Riven will do to you if you get too close. She will beat you up. You can't really trade with her, but so see how you have high mana here. Your Q's off cooldown, so go ahead and use it. Just spam that Riven every time you get it. It's really the only way you can lane with Kassadin, because you see without that, Riven is just going to jump on you and trade with you all day. And so one thing against Riven, you should really be getting early force pulls. You're going to have that up all the time against a Riven. It may even be worth leveling Force Pulse over Q. I'm not sure. I think they scale about the same damage-wise with level, but you know, Force Pulse is AoE and gives you a slow, so it might be nice. So whenever you're looking at what skills to level, some things you always want to consider what happens with the mana cost as well. So you know, it might not be worth it to level a skill just because you get more damage, because the mana cost is going to go up a lot higher. It just means that you may not be able to use it as much, especially in lane. But so, alright, you both have one pot left, so you're trading really well with this Riven, actually. So there's some good kiting. You got caught, though. Yeah, you had to exhaust him. That's okay. What summoner spells does Riven have? Riven doesn't have Ignite. Okay, so since Riven doesn't have Ignite, that wasn't too bad. It was a little scary, because if Riven had Ignite, you probably would have died. But so always keep in mind what summoner spells your lane opponent has. That's very important. Oh, so if you look at CS, you're only at 14. The Riven has 20. So you're definitely missing some. And there, you know, I don't blame you for really not being there when that Udyr gank, because you're very low health. If you get even in range of Riven dash, you're probably going to die, or the flash, like right there. But, Udyr, oh wow, the camera's still locking you when you're dead, that's weird. But, wow, Udyr doesn't pick up that kill. Okay, so I was going to say that's not a bad play, because Riven should definitely die, but didn't. And oh, Udyr's cleaning up! Okay, so, yeah, that really wasn't terrible on your part. Like, the Riven used her flash aggressively to kill you while Udyr was there. It's kind of a kamikaze play, but... So, I mean, it puts you behind because the Riven gets a kill. But your Udyr is now 3-0, and a fed Udyr is a really good thing, so... It's really not a... That was a decent trade. I mean, you probably should have backed, but you kept good spacing there, so that Riven really had to burn that flash to kill you. So one thing that you probably want to do now is communicate with your jungler. Let him... Well, he should know that Riven's flash is down because he was right there when she flashed. But, you know, Ash just said bot easy gank. I don't know why that's an easy gank. They're not really pushed, but... You should be communicating with your jungle. Be like, hey, gank Riven again while her flash is down, please. Because you need it. Okay, don't miss your Force Pulse. You know, that's not good. And another thing to watch the minions right there. When you walked up to try to last hit that minion, you did it at a really bad time because your caster minions had not aggroed anything yet, which means that they aggroed you because you walked up. So you probably just took, like, I don't know, 80 minion damage right there, which is just 80 damage that was avoidable. Okay, now, you're missing CS that you shouldn't. That CS you should have gotten. Riven kind of disappeared for a second. I don't know if she was warding or what. But there's absolutely no reason to miss CS when your lane partner is not there. See this one? You should be getting that one. And then you should get that one. Because Riven's busy CS and creeps over here. You can get those. You should get that one with a Q. You should get this one with a Q. Your Qs, I know it's it's open and available because I haven't like fast forwarded and will replay or anything, so the cooldown should match up. So like, you should be getting that CS with a Q. You should be CSing with your Q if you need to. CS is way more important than harass, so. Okay, so in that engage, you sat there and you tried to trade hits with Riven. Don't ever do that as Kassadin. What you should have done, I mean, you did a good job. You silenced her, you force pulsed her, and then you, but you were like slow to Rift Walk out, and I don't know if it was just because Riven stuns you with everything she does, but you definitely need to react faster there. Udyr doesn't pick up the kill. Oh, Master Yi's coming. Mundo's here too. Uh-oh, Udyr might be in trouble. Yeah, it looks like Udyr's gonna go down. It's gonna be a lot of gold for the enemy team. Oh, actually, Fed Udyr is like impossible to kill, so Udyr lives, which is funny. But so when you're engaging on Riven, you wanna as Kassadin, you don't wanna like trade auto attacks. So there's no reason to even get in melee range. Drop your Q, drop your Force Pulse, and kite her, and Rift Walk out. I know that you probably got stun locked there, but really be careful with that. You have to respect Riven's damage, especially post 6 with her ultimate. She's going to do a ton of damage, as you just saw. She pretty much like almost insta-killed you. So just be careful when you're trading. Like as Kassadin, your auto attacks, I know your W increases your auto attack damage, but it's not very much. And you need to play like it doesn't really increase your auto attack damage. It's really helpful to get last hits at turret, but not so helpful to use on champions like Riven. And here you go again. Don't trade with Mundo right clicks like that. Mundo has a huge attack damage steroid. He did way more damage in those right clicks than you. You were winning that trade, and then you lost it. And here you're too slow to Rift Walk. That Riven should never get close to you. As soon as you shouldn't even get hit by that cleaver with that Rift Walk. So Rift Walk is great if you're fast enough reactions. You should be dodging those cleavers. So you're very aggressive right there, chasing that Mundo down here. I know Mundo was low, but you were too. That was not a good play. I mean, clearly because he died. But with Kassadin, I mean, you're only at 24 CS right now. You are behind. You can't be aggressive when you're behind. So that's something to watch. Like, you should, that last engage where that Riven killed you really fast, you should realize, hey, that Riven does a lot of damage. I need to be careful of that Riven. And when you ran up here, chasing that Mundo, that's not being careful. So just some things I'm noticing in your play. You really need to work on last hitting. You only have 24, and yeah, Riven's been aggressive and zoned you out from some, but you've missed a lot. You've probably missed around 20 or so that you could have gotten easily. No problem. So work on that. Missed reward, but that's okay. That happens to everyone. Actually, I don't know. Yeah, you missed that one, but that's okay. I do that all the time. So definitely work on your last hitting. Like, you should get every single one of these last hits, and good. You're getting most. You're getting them so far. But use your Q to last hit as Kassadin. That one you shouldn't miss. There's no reason to miss that one or that one. So just little things like that. Those little minions. See, if you queued that range minion instead of Riven, you would have gotten that CS, and it's more important than the you know, however much damage. It was like 200 because you just leveled it up. That she's just healing up from auto attacks. So. And so one thing you can be doing as Kassadin right now, you really can't lane against this Riven. It has a huge lead on you, right? 65 CS to 20 and 2 kills in a level advantage. You could be roaming right now. So when that Riven was gone and you were here for no reason, yeah, you could farm up, and that's good since you're behind on farm. You could also start roaming down to bot lane, try to kill this Vayne. You could roam up top. I mean, it does seem like your team's doing really well without you. The Udyr that's 5-0, that's super. Fed Udyr's going to win you games, which it probably will, because I think you said you won this game, so. So yeah, just some things to keep in mind. You need the last hit better. Like that one you shouldn't miss. This one you just miss. Don't do that. You gotta hit those. Like, you should be furious with yourself if you miss one of those last hits. You should be like, oh my god, how did I miss that? And that's another case where instead of queuing Riven, you could have queued the creep and gotten a last hit. Good dodge, good juke on Riven ultimate though. That was a good heads up play. Okay, I'm gonna say something because this is the second arrow I've seen from Ashe to mid. Those arrows aren't really worth it. Those are so hard to hit. You have to get just lucky as all hell to hit like a cross map arrow. Don't waste your arrow like that. I don't think it's worth it. Save it for like initiating in lane or something. But yeah, so some other things to work on with Kassadin is be faster to Rift Walk out of danger. Like, against melee heroes like Mundo ganking you and Riven, you shouldn't really get hit if you don't want to get hit. Like, I know I talked about that one time when you got cleavered by Mundo and then jumped on by Riven and then Rift Walked out. You should be Rift Walking out way before those things even hit you. You should Rift Walk out of Mundo cleavers. So, I mean, you should have enough mana regen with your 2 Dorans and your W that you don't really have to worry about it. Okay, here's another thing I'm gonna say. Don't level your W. It's a 1-point wonder, if that. It's sometimes, like, when I play Kassadin, sometimes I don't even level my W. I do tend to get 1 point just because of the mana regen, and it's nice to help you last hit a turret. But in general, you definitely don't want to be leveling your W. You want to be leveling your E. This thing does huge damage in an AoE. And look, in team fights, it's a 6-second cooldown. Especially with a Riven on the enemy team, she's going to be making that, like, that's going to be popping all the time. It's a 6-second cooldown AoE nuke. That spell's amazing. You need to level this up, not your W. You're getting babysat by Nidalee now, which is actually probably not good for you. Because you're 2 levels behind. You need the experience. So I don't know what Nidalee's doing, but she shouldn't be. What's going on over here? Ashe is getting chased by Mundo? Okay. Anyway, I don't care about the other team, I just care about you. So here, like, instead of just running, you took, I don't know, 200-300 damage running and then rift walking, when you could have just rift walked right away. So don't, like, you're too hesitant to rift walk. It's a great mobility spell, and you need to use that. And then just these little things last hitting, like that minion right there at the turret, you could have gotten. So the last hit of the turret for ranged minions, you're going to attack them once, get them prepped, and then the turret's going to attack them, and then you're going to get the kill. And so if you did that on those ranged minions, if you just hit them each once, and then let the turret hit them, could have gotten. So these Qs, this Q harass on Riven is just not doing anything now. Okay, Nidalee's taking your CS, which doesn't help, but you're 2 levels behind. Riven has both a Wriggles and a Vamp Scepter. Your Qs literally are just doing nothing to her. She already has it healed up. So I would just save your mana and Q the last hit at this point. And then, yeah, okay, Riven has 100 CS. This is a serious problem. But the good news is that Mundo's been in your lane a lot. And if you see, Udyr is 7-0. So Udyr's like given up on your lane, and I play jungler, and honestly what he's done is he says, whatever, Kassadin is so far behind, I don't care about his lane anymore. And he has just been doing other things. I mean, he's 7-0, he's doing a lot of stuff. I don't know what Olaf's doing, that's pretty dumb. But and this kind of stems from that very early play where you died, you stuck around with low health, baited the Riven into flashing to kill you, and it gave the Udyr a double kill. I'm going to go ahead and say that was a good play. You know, it led to your Udyr getting a 2-0 advantage, which he has done a really good job of carrying that advantage and turning it into more advantages. So one thing you always want to do when you get an early advantage, like going 2-0 on your jungle, you want to use that and go crazy. You want to take every dragon. You want to take, you know, gank a lot of lanes because you're really strong now. And the Udyr's done a really good job of doing that. I haven't been paying too much attention, but I think he's gotten every dragon that's been taken so far. He seems to always be down there, and he's just going, in general, going crazy. So that was actually a good play when you died there. I mean, so far in this game, you are just a non-factor right now. Your team is carrying you, and that's fine. Some games you get carried. Okay, so here's like the first little team fight, I guess. So you silence Anivia, which is good. You should be... Yeah, okay, you missed that force pulse, which is bad. They were all grouped up. That's the perfect time. You could have force pulsed like 4 of them. But you were very hesitant. You're playing very scared, which Kassadin is so mobile, you shouldn't really be that scared. Like, you could have just walked a little closer and force pulsed, you know, 3 to 4 of them. And then you can always rift walk out. So the one thing I'm noticing when you Kassadin play is you're very hesitant to rift walk. And that's your bread and butter skill. Don't be scared to rift walk. Yeah, in general, don't get hit by a Nivea Q like that. There's not really a reason, but I mean, that wasn't serious. It's Ashe randomly arrowing. Yeah, okay, good. So you dodge that one. Get these last hits, though. There you go. Don't be afraid. Okay, you missed that one. That's okay. Alright. So this is... Okay, here's another thing. You rushed a Negatron Cloak, and I have no idea why you did that. As Kassadin, you need to do damage, okay? I know that you're behind, and sometimes it's tempting when you're behind. You're like, oh, I'm behind. I'm just taking so much damage. I can't do anything. I'm just gonna build tanky so I don't die. That's the worst thing you can do, I think, because you go from being less than helpful by being behind. Okay, so I'm gonna get back to that, but I want to talk about what just happened here. So you made a good. You saw as soon as Vayne popped up, you made a good rift walk out of here, and you blew Ghost. I don't know if you got screwed by pathing or what, but you dipped down. I think that's why you died. I think you could have lived if you didn't dip down. That was you probably just got screwed by pathing. You're probably like clicking over here or something, or panicking, and it decided to path you this way for some reason. And so that's unfortunate, but you probably could have reacted a little faster to that, but that was okay. It looked like you got screwed on pathing, which to avoid that, try to always be clicking like right in front of your character. So when you rift walk over here, instead of clicking over here because that's where you want to go, just kind of just click a bunch like this. Oh wow, I just mess with the camera a lot. That's fine. Okay, new camera angle. All right. So where are you at? You're up here. Okay, you're 0-4-0. And so one thing I want to say is you're getting carried in this game. Just let your team carry you in this situation, which is really what you're doing. You're kind of just hanging back, being a non-factor in the game, and that's fine because your team is just dominating them. So, but things you could do if you want to be more involved in the game, especially as Kassadin, you have really strong ganks and a really strong roaming potential. Riven can push lanes pretty fast, but if if you're leveling your E so it does more damage, which you need to be, there's another reason to level your E. You can use it to clear minion waves. If you get some AP and you level your E, you can just force pulse waves. And if you force pulse and rift walk on a wave, it pretty much insta kills the wave, and you can push your lane really fast and then go gank other lanes, and that gives you a big presence in other lanes. And so you can start having, like, you can actually start doing something in this game. So it's another reason to level Force Pulse. You definitely want to level Force Pulse over W. Force Pulse is an amazing skill. Like, it's really good. Don't ever level W over Force Pulse. That's bad. And as Kassadin, get damage. Don't get magic resist. So Udyr is getting caught, maybe? It's hard to tell without health bars, but Udyr never dies, so you should be all over this. Big cleanup. Alright. So you can actually rift walk over this wall right here. Like, it looks like maybe you thought you couldn't get in range, but with any jumping abilities or even planting wards, if you can jump over half the wall, it'll just put you on the other side. So keep that in mind. You missed your Force Pulse again, though, I think. It looked like you missed it. I've noticed you're missing a lot of Force Pulse. I don't know if you're just not very experienced with Kassadin, so you're not used to the range, but maybe, I don't know, but you gotta start hitting those Force Pulses. You definitely could have hit it on 2 people there and probably saved them, but I don't know what happened. So, alright, you're just letting Olaf chase this Mundo, which is fine. You're low health, so probably for the best. As long as you're getting most of these CS, which looks like you're getting a lot. Don't be afraid to use abilities to CS a turret either. Like, all these, your Q is it's ready to go, so don't. Like, you should be using your Q to hit those creeps. I just noticed in general that you're kind of timid with your abilities. Don't be. You have 2 Dorans. It gives you good mana regen. I don't know what runes you're running, but if you have MP5 runes, like MP5 per level, then you really shouldn't be afraid at all to use your abilities. So. But yeah, like I said, your team's carrying you, so just try to be an asset to your team. You're behind, so it may not be in fights, but you could be pushing this wave off your turret, pushing top. Alright, let's see. Okay, jump in on that E. Steal that kill. Jump in on that low health Vayne. You're very like, go after this Vayne right here with rift walks. This Vayne is yours. I don't know if you didn't see her or what, but I mean, you just kind of watch them fight with a full mana bar on Kassadin, and you should never do that. So Rift Walk away right there before you get stunned also. That Vayne should have been your kill as Kassadin. You should see a 300 HP Vayne and just drool, because you had Ghost up, you had full mana for Rift Walk stacks. That was totally your kill, but you're afraid, so don't do that. You stole red somehow, which is nice. I missed that, but good job. So yeah, in that fight, when they're engaging here, you know, they caught that Master Yi. You should steal that kill. Try get in there with a Q and a Force Pulse. Do some damage so you get an assist at the very least. You kind of stood and watched. I don't know what was up with that. There you go. There's an early Force Pulse. So yeah, this Riven should never touch you. I know you're afraid, but you could also probably just Q her before you Force Pulse out of there. It silences her to make sure like she doesn't flash or do something crazy. See, right there, you can totally jump on that Anivia. You had the Nully with you. You saw that spear was going to hit and chunk her. You probably could have jumped on that Anivia, Q Force Pulse her, and done some good damage. Okay, so let me critique your build a little more. So, you started with a Negatron, and now you're going Sheen. This is not a good Kassadin build. You really want to get a lot of ability power on Kassadin. Sweet! Alright, you're back in the game. You got a kill, you got an assist, nice. But yeah, so what's happening right now, I'm not commentating too much on these fights, because what's happening is the 9 and 2 Udyr is just destroying everyone, and the Olaf with 180 CS, like, your team's so far ahead right now that you can just go AFK in base and they'll probably win. So that's why I'm not really commentating. All these fights are like, oh look, the fed Udyr is turret diving and going crazy. So, but your build is making you really, like, useless. You probably felt like pretty helpless in this game, and one reason is because you got behind, and you're still behind. But what made that worse is your build. Your build is a 0 damage build. It's almost 30 minutes into the game and you have 50 ability power. That's really, really bad. You should have like 200, 300 at this point. You should have a death cap. At the very least, you should have a death cap. I mean, I know you're not really getting much gold, but you should have a death cap. Like right now, if you were to base and you never bought this, or this, or this, you would be close to a death cap. Because you almost have enough for your needlessly large rod. You know, these two would be... Like, right now you have enough for your needlessly large rod. Negatron's almost as much as a blasting wand. You'd be really close to a death cap right now if you didn't buy these items. And then you'd actually do damage. Hey, that right there was another symptom. That was another case of being slow to Rift Walk out. You need to work on your reaction time. You should be able to react to that a lot faster. You're right here, and you got jumped by 3 people, and you should always that should never have happened. You should have been able to Rift Walk over this wall or just out like you did a lot earlier. And this is a reason why I like Flash more than Ghost. If you had Flash, I think you would have gotten out of there. Excuse me. But with Ghost, you got CC'd, so the Ghost wasn't that helpful because you couldn't really run. Like I said, your team is going crazy though. So, yeah. Okay, here's another thing I'm gonna say. Don't ever rush Lichbane. You have 95 ability power. Lichbane's gonna give you plus 80. And right now you're sitting at plus 20, plus 65. So you're going to get 15 more ability power when you finish your Lichbane. You're going to be at 110 ability power when you finish your Lichbane. But look, your base attack damage is 111. So your Sheen proc is actually going to do more damage than your finished Lichbane proc. So you're going to spend 1,350 gold to upgrade your Lichbane to lose damage on the proc because you have no ability power. So don't ever, ever, ever rush a Lichbane on any champion. You always need to get some decent AP before you build your Lichbane. So right now you could have a death cap instead of this Negatron Sheen blasting wand. You could have a death cap. You're actually You might be going Abyssal Scepter before you finish your Lich Bane. I'm not sure what you're doing, but don't do that. Okay, so that was good. Way to react and go help your teammate. You're probably going to clean up this kill too. Nice, nice. Good job. One thing you could have done, you exhausted really late. Like, you exhausted that Riven in the chase. If you exhausted the Riven here, when you jumped in and they were still turret diving, that Olaf probably would have lived. He has natural lifesteal and a Wriggles and a Warmogs. He would have lived if you exhausted that Riven earlier. But that's okay. So this is another thing I'm just seeing in general with your play. You're very stingy with your spells. You're slow to react to Force Pulse out. You're a little too conservative with your Q, and you should be using it to last hit. And you're conservative with your exhaust. So good job there. Good gank. But just in general, that's the biggest thing I'm seeing with your play is you're too timid with your spells. You need to use your spells all over the place, and you need to react faster with your Rift Walk. So you have enough gold to either finish your Abyssal or finish your Lich Bane, so you should probably just go do that. Again, I don't agree with your build like at all. And okay, here's another thing. I don't understand why you're getting an Abyssal, because they don't have very much magic damage. Their only magic damage is in 86 Creep Score and Nivea. So it's really not much. And you were laning against a Riven, so the most damage you were seeing was physical. So I don't agree very much at all with your item build. Okay, here's another thing I'm gonna talk about. Right there, you went for the Mundo, but this Yi right here, super low health and just cleaning up everyone. As Kassadin, your job, the biggest thing to playing Kassadin is you need to prioritize who you're going to kill. The benefit of Kassadin is his extreme mobility. Because of his low cooldown Rift Walk, you can focus anyone you want. Yeah, that's the thing. You can jump in on anyone in a team fight and deal damage, and they can't do anything about it. So that's the huge benefit of Kassadin. If you're not using that advantage, then you're not using Kassadin as full. It's like you didn't Rift Walk really that whole fight. You Rift Walk to get in better position. Like, you're up here, blow up that Yi. He was 400 health that entire fight, and you went on Mundo. You need to kill Yi. Like, if you're looking at this team, your job right now is to kill Master Yi and Vayne, because they're their highest damage, squishiest targets. Like, Vayne has died 7 times, it doesn't matter. Vayne still does massive damage. To quote Freak, Vayne does tons of damage. So these are your targets in fights. You should pretty much only have eyes for them. Okay, so here's what I was talking about. You have 110 ability power, but 115 base attack damage. You lost damage on your proc by upgrading to the Lich Bane. You just spent 1,350 gold to do less damage with your Sheen proc. So never ever get okay. Oh, that was a good bait actually. Ash landed a very nice arrow on the E. But that was another case of Rift walking too late. As soon as like you see that E and that Mundo trying to collapse on you, just get out of there. You took all this damage you took, there's no reason to take that. So good slow, okay. So yeah, that Lich Bane proc did like no damage. And so there you got caught by a Nivea Q. That should never happen. Especially, like in general, you shouldn't get hit by that Q. You should have just been able to sidestep it. But especially on a Kassadin who had Rift Walk up, you could have just Rift Walked that to dodge that. So another thing, don't be stingy with Rift Walk. But your team is so far ahead, it doesn't matter. Olaf's gonna just go crazy. Actually, he's probably gonna die here. Riven does a lot of damage, so. Yeah, so right there, you got caught, and you really, there's no reason to get caught there. You could have sidestepped that Q, or you could have, you really should have just Rift Walked out of it. So I don't know if, this is something you'll have to decide for yourself, if right there you need to work on your reaction time, or if you need to work on using your spells more often. So, and I'm not sure which it is. That's for you to decide. If reaction times just aren't fast enough to react to that play, work on your reaction times. There's like, you can, well, there's a little like flash game, or not flash game, but there's a little game you play to like music called Osu. It's like a rhythm game. I don't know if that would really help with your reaction time, but it would help with your mouse precision if you need help with that. But you can probably just Google like reaction training or something. There's silly little flash games that will help with your reaction time if that's what you need help with. But yeah, on Kassadin, like, use your Rift Walk a lot. Your Rift Walk's amazing, and the first time you cast it, it's only 100 mana. That's nothing. Yeah, you'll regenerate that in about 20 seconds. In 20 seconds, you're gonna regenerate your Rift Walk's mana. Like, just moving around, you should use it. Like, you're walking over here, just Rift Walk over there. Go faster. Alright, so I just kind of want to take this time to like recap the biggest things I'm noticing in your play. The first is reaction time. The second is you're way too stingy with your spells, especially your Rift Walk. You have to Rift Walk early, and your Q. You have to use your Q to get last hits. The third thing I'm noticing is your item build. Your item build is bad, just in general, bad. Okay. Right here, this Riven, she wants you to chase her and get distracted while their team is raping your base. Alright, well, good job. You picked up the kill on Riven. Jump on this vein right now. Go over that wall, get that vein. Get her. There you go. There you go. Chase her with the Rift Walk. Rift Walk in and slower. Okay, that vein should not have gotten away from you. You still have lots of mana. You can use. Don't be afraid to just use Rift Walk more. Yeah, that vein. There's no reason that vein should have gotten away. You should have. You had Ghost up, and still like you had like 700 mana for Rift Walks. Definitely should have gotten that vein. So that's all right. Yeah. So the three big things to work on: reaction time. Using your spells more. Don't be stingy. Your leveling order. Don't level W before E on Kassadin. So 4 things in your item build. Kassadin, you need AP because you need to do damage. A Rod of Ages isn't terrible on Kassadin. It's nice to have a huge mana bank for Rift Walk. So a lot of people really like Archangels on him. I'm not a big fan of Archangels in general on just about anyone. But some people like Archangels on Kassadin. It's not bad. Rod of Ages is a good idea on Kassadin too. It's nice to just be a little tanky also if you have to like jump into bad spots. So yeah, I'm not really commentating on these team fights because pretty much these team fights are my team is super fed and they're just gonna win. Exhaust this Yi. Your exhaust is up and he's killing your whole team. Okay, that right there, I'm probably gonna say is the worst thing you've done this game. That Yi just got a triple kill solely because you did not exhaust him. You had exhaust up. If that Yi alpha strikes and you exhausted him, he would have just died. He would have done. Look at this. Reduces attack damage dealt by 70%. That Yi would have done 0 damage and your team would have just killed him. And it probably would have been game. So this is just being way too stingy on your spells. Look at this. You have both summoners up and your team just got aced. I don't know what's up with that. You need to work better on that. Okay, so you finish your Abyssal. So now you have 123 attack damage and 180 ability power. So your Lich Bane now does 57 more damage than the Sheen proc would have. If you're going to go Lich Bane, you need to build AP. And now you're getting a Chain Vest, which you don't need. So, I said this before, but when you're playing Kassadin, you need ability power. You need damage. You are a high mobility burst assassin. You don't need to be tanky because you shouldn't ever be getting hit. Your Rift Walk gives you so much mobility, it lets you just jump in, do your damage, and then walk away. And you should really never get hit. You don't need to be tanky. I don't know if you're planning on going like a Zonia's or what with that Chain Vest, but completely unnecessary. Jump on this vein right now. See this vein? Low health vein that's killing your team? That's you. That's what Kassadin does. Don't get on the Mundo, get on the Vayne. And exhaust the E when he jumps in this time. Okay, so you didn't exhaust the E, but that's okay. Your team's so fed. So there's a lot of mistakes you're doing in team fights here. You still have your summoners up. You haven't used summoners in like 20 minutes, and that's bad. You need to use those summoners, guys. And then, okay, so here's some things you need to work on for what it's on. I'm just going to recap in general. The most important thing is you need to use your spells more. You could have saved teammates multiple times if you used exhaust. You had it on. It was available, it was ready to use, and you weren't using it. You need to use your spells more to last hit. You could have gotten a lot more last hits if you were using your Q to last hit. You need to react faster, and you need to use a force. When you have your Rift Walk up, you shouldn't ever get hit by a skill shot. You should be able to react fast enough to force to Rift Walk out of skill shots. You need to Rift Walk earlier to avoid damage. You know, there are a lot of times, like a melee champion should like never touch a Kassadin. With your force bowls to kite and your Rift Walk to kite, shouldn't really ever get hit by melee champions. You never want to trade auto attacks on Kassadin. When you're playing Kassadin, level your E instead of W. That's very important. W is a 1-point wonder for the mana regen. And to help you last hit a turret. That's it. That's all it's good for. Item build. Get ability power. Don't build tanky Kassadin. Get ability power. Don't rush Lichbane ever. Ever. I mean, I really try to focus on that. You lost damage on your Sheen proc when you rushed that Lichbane. Just don't ever do that. In team fights, you need to get on this chick right here. Vayne, she's all yours. In team fights, you only have eyes for Vayne and Master Yi when you're playing Kassadin. They're squishy, high damage guys. That's it. That's all you care about. You 100% ignore the Mundo. You 100% ignore the Anivia, who wasn't very fed. And all you want to do is concentrate on their highest damage, lowest health players, which in this case was Vayne and Master Yi, which you never did. You were always too afraid. You were like hanging by your team. Like there's sometimes like your team's here, 400 health Vayne over here, plinking away at your team. You just Rift Walk, QE, she's dead instantly. But you did make a good play early in the game when your team when Udyr got that double kill. And I think that play really might have ended up winning you the game. You baited that Riven and their Mundo into going on you at low health, while Udyr was there with red buff, and even though you died, your Udyr got a double kill, and he really did a good job of taking that double kill and running with it and getting super far ahead. So he used that double kill. He took that advantage, he ganked other lanes, he took dragons, and he really ended up winning the game for your team, I think. So, yeah, so work on those things. I'll comment on the Reddit post with those things so you have them written down somewhere. But overall, I mean, it wasn't a bad game. There's definitely a lot of things to work on. Sorry if I sound like really negative, but, you know, I want to... The whole point of this is to help you play better, and so... If I see things that you're doing well, I'll probably mention them, but I'm going to be a lot more critical than I'm going to be supportive. So, yep. Looks like you posted 20 minutes ago and said I just got the message, so I'm wondering if you're still doing the replay. I would love to see live. If you're watching, hi. No one's in my RC channel, but that's okay. I don't need to talk to you guys. That's fine. So let me real quick, I'm going to reply to this post on Reddit. I'm going to get some more water. And then I'm going to go to my next replay, which is Priest Pants 1700 Soraka support. So I'm going to take like 5. And then so let's notepad. I don't know if you... Yeah, sure, you guys can see that. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and mute my microphone while I type this and get some water and stuff, but I'll be back in 5 minutes.